Namaskar. Hello and welcome. Excuse me. Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, fake currency, and how it got spread in India. Who were the politicians who had their hand in the till, and how many countries were assisting? To understand all these things and the layering that took place over a period of years, let us welcome our guest of the evening, Sri RVS Mani. Maniji, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskaram, thank you very much.
And Ganeshicha, we are going to tell the truth, the absolute truth, and nothing but the truth today. So we are going to start, viewers, with a slide deck where we are going to walk you through some of the things that took place over a period of perhaps 20 years. I mean, Pakistan really had a run in terms of how they could manipulate India's economy, and we are going to show you just that. Can we have the slide deck, please? So the question that we are asking today is, using fake currency, did Pakistan mess India's economy? And when Prime Minister Modi did the demonetization, did that crash the Pakistani economy? Because today we are seeing that they are on their knees. The IMF has just returned without giving them any money. The $1.1 billion was really the oxygen for them to go and turn around and take their begging bowl to other countries. IMF has given, will you please give, will you please give? They're hoping to raise like 8 billion, and all that is now come to zero. How did things come to this? Where did these things go wrong? That's what we want to take you through here. And let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so there is there's a unit in the Indian government that monitors where the fake currency is being generated and how it is being brought into India. It's called Indian Fake Currency Network. This is the network that they loosely call it. This is full of people who have shady intentions, and they have taken the help of our neighboring countries to enable these operations. What you are seeing here has already been published in various magazines over a period of 10 years, but we are trying to bring everything together, because in order to understand how it is that the demonetization has crashed Pakistan currency, we have to understand how much this business was helping Pakistan. Maniji, can you please jump in here for a second, sir, before we go to this slide? I would like you to kind of give us your initial thoughts when you started looking at fake currency, when you started tracking, because in the second part, there are all the things that are your stuff in this slide deck, but I thought at least I'll allow you to give an opening statement on this, and then we will continue, sir.
Basically, I'll tell you, fake currency, as per the Blue Book of Ministry of Home Affairs, which starts of allocation of work, supposed to be dealt in the Central State Division, which is looking after the state crimes. And it is basically the state government's prerogative, initially before other registrations came up. 489, sections 489, 1 to 5 or whatever it is, were the ones which were dealing with the fake currency. And state governments were very lax in handling it. But internal security, and we were seized of the matter, but there was not any counter measures to counter that. It was leaking from different places and different ATMs and different areas. 2008, 2007 and onward, it had a very clear nexus between use of fake currency to fund terror was getting established. And that is the reason the first meaningful initiative was taken by the then Home Secretary. He personally wrote to all the Chief Secretaries and DGPs of State on 28th of January 2008, asking them for robust action, etc., including even a single piece giving. There are several SOPs which were mentioned there, and that is the first time, in spite of the fact that there was enormous, I don't know where from the political pressures were there. It was there, and there was pressures from the fake people to go solve the state police, and it could happen from many other places. Now, the second part I am telling you. Now, the second part, that is the first meaning. That is the reason the government of India's internal security divisions, infrastructure apparatus started looking at fake currency as one of their need to be curbed for funding terror, because finance is the lifeline of terrorism. That is number one. Number two, about the crashing of the Pakistani economy, we have spoken about it together many times. 8th of November 2016, 6 to 8 November 2016, Honorable Narendra Modi ji announced the demonetization, and the echo was felt in Pakistan. Javed Khanini, the biggest, the owner of the printing press which used to print the fake currency notes for India, was found, and one news item said had committed suicide. Another news item which was more articulate said was found dead in suspicious circumstances in Karachi. We always knew that the fake currency notes were being printed from Peshawar and Karachi. He had huge networks like that. That is number one. So this is one of the biggest giveaway. And another interesting fact is his own twin brother Altaf Khanini is doing a sentence, I think, somewhere in Australia for the
in United States. In United States, same thing.
Same thing. Fake currency.
Yeah.
There's a family of fake currency. That is number one.
Yes.
So the same offer is our twin brother Altaf Khanini is doing. That is number two. This apart, we also knew that it was being peddled through several sources, but we were constrained from acting the political establishment of that time. I don't know what was it, but the then Home Secretary took the mantle on himself and wrote personal demi-official letters to each of the chief secretaries, and that was the first meaningful action we took. I wanted to say this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And viewers, please like this video, because the reveal of the actual names taken by a Pakistani diplomat under interrogation of specific Neta names and how their role was, all that is going to be revealed in the second part of this talk and this discussion. And also, please send in your questions with the hashtag. I think the hashtag has already been put. I'll repeat that. I think it is Ask RVS. If not, just look at the screen what the hashtag says, and please use that to send your questions, because I'm already seeing a lot of questions coming on this, and we would like to answer as many as possible. So we have about, we are going to have about Ask RVS. About 1 hour thinking of having this program, but there's a lot of stuff available to cover. Let's get back to the slideshow, please. So, first indication that Nepal was involved was when two people were caught with fake currency trying to cross from Nepal to India. One, I don't have the names, but I'll give you the references that will be in the description section. You guys can read these things to know. And they named the Crown Prince of Nepal, Paras, as one of the people who helped them to set up shop. Now, we don't know how the ISI got hold of Paras. Honey trap comes to mind, but it's eventually, from what I have heard, news about Paras in Nepal, he was quite unpopular. Maybe he had some other challenges there, but whatever it is believed that the Nepal network was set up with the help from this particular crown prince. Of course, the royalty got abolished, and we don't have anything of that nature in Nepal. But you have to go back to understand how the roots of fake currency were planted. The other interesting thing that has come out from interrogating these people is that Indian Department of Revenue Intelligence and others who are tracing or tracking fake currency, they found out that Pakistan was buying substantial amounts of currency paper much beyond what their internal requirement was. Now, the news report says it's substantially higher. It doesn't say how much, but I have had some other people.
Let me correct you. I've been privy to this.
Yeah.
Not required, no, much beyond, not their requirement, much beyond the levels of procurement by Indian agencies.
Oh my goodness.
Are you getting it? That is the difference. So I think somewhere it got missed out. There are clear reports. There is one Banerjee committee report, Shiladitya Banerjee or some committee report was there. It had flagged it that the Pakistani procurement of currency, Indian currency paper, was more than the Indian procurement levels itself. I don't know the exact reports,
Mind
chairman's
blowing,
name,
sir.
but then.
Mind blowing. I did not
So
know this.
I wanted to, this one part, I wanted to correct it.
So now this is the other interesting information that came out. The information that came out was these currencies. Now you know that the amount was substantially high, right? Then how much was the fake note going for in exchange for the real note? 50%. People would take 50%. That is, if they were giving you a fake 500, they will take the real 250 rupees note, 250 rupees for that. This is what was the rates in the market. Now, RVS Maniji, you tell me what you have heard.
I have personally, when I was doing my Mansarovar Yatra and coming back, at 𝗤𝙗𝗚𝗏, it is a border district with Nepal, the rate was 50%, is not very far off the mark. Somewhere it is 43. In Bangladesh border, it used to be 47. So it was anything just below, hedging the 50% mark. For a bundle of 1,000 rupees, 1,000 rupee, for example, a 10,000 rupee bundle of 1,000 rupee fake notes, you had to pay 4,300 rupees in Indian genuine notes. That was the rate somewhere in 𝗤𝙗𝗚𝗏 in 2008, July. And some places, it used to be in Bangladesh, Indo-Bangladesh border, in Farakka area and all that, it would be 47. So in different places, they had different rates. But more or less, the rate is very close to what is 50% is. So more close to whatever 50% is. Kerala, it used to come from Sri Lanka, Pakistan High Commission diplomatic back Sri Lanka, and from there it used to be transported even through sea routes. The favorite of Tamil Nadu Dravidian government's fishermen used to be transporting even this. So let us be very clear about it. We had Maharajganj, Domariaganj, Mau, and all these border districts of UP on the Indo-Nepal border, Uttaranchal border district of UP, Uttarakhand with Nepal border. Like that, there are several points where it was very brazenly available, very easily available, and for 43 to 47 rupees.
Now, we are going to tie this in with another investigation that Sri RVS Mani is intimately familiar with. So hang on to your horses. This is something that, you know, is probably going to be like a definitive video for many to understand the impact fake currency had on Indian economy and the number of people who are trying to make sure that whoever was tracking it, whoever was trying to flag it, were being punished. One of them is Mr. Mani himself. So I'm going to give you a little bit more insight. So hang on to it, guys. Let's go back to the slideshow, please. Okay, so we have one person named Mr. Paras, the Prince, Crown Prince of Nepal. Next, please. Here's where it gets interesting. Remember Colonel Col Purohit? You know the main reason why he got stiffed and with a fake case, fake everything, and he's still waiting for justice. You know who he named? He named Abu Azmi as the mastermind. Abu Azmi was responsible for distributing fake currency. This guy was a Samajwadi Party MLA from Maharashtra, by the way. This fellow was responsible for distributing fake currency in 3 states: Karnataka, Maharashtra, and I think Andhra Pradesh. I'm not 100% sure about the 3rd state, but you know, you get the idea, geographical spread. This is what this guy was doing. But this is the first Neta I have named. There are 2 more coming. Just wait for a second. Maniji, would you like to add something on the Colonel Col Purohit case, sir? Where is it today? Why has he not been freed and allowed to take his original job back?
See, original job is a very old thing, and he will, of course, be observed by the lieutenant colonel level only. But the irony is, the judiciary has taken so long. The prosecution witnesses are turning hostile. There are very little substance left in the case, but still I do not know how and why the judiciary, the NIA special court is taking so long, and it is best left to the judiciary. Anything beyond that, we would be in contempt of the judiciary. So I do not want to comment beyond this. But the irony is, a very, and by doing that, the judiciary is actually served the purpose of Pakistan. Because Colonel Purohit, Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, at the age of 34, a selection grade Lieutenant Colonel, would have gone on to become the Chief of Army Staff or at least a Lieutenant General with a Corps Commander level function, which should have been a death knell to Pakistani defense forces. And that they very beautifully abrogated. See, it is not just that he was victimized over a particular case or two particular case or whatever it is. It has also served the Pakistani agenda that India did not get the general who deserved. India did not get the general she deserved. Now he can never become a general in the army, Chief of Army Staff. 22 years, 17 years, 16, 17 years have been lost. That is also a very important thing. And these framers have got scot-free. Every framer has gotten away. The political,
yes, indeed.
The political as well as the police officers, including General Deepak Kapoor, who was the general at that time, and who is in the Congress camp nowadays.
Blood boils, Maniji. See, this is the thing. All these crooks are now lining up in the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Right? You don't have to look further than some of the people who have had colorful cars. Dullat is another guy. I mean,
right?
It is just. By the way, there are more revelations coming. Let's go back and put the slideshow, please. Okay, so Colonel Purohit is still waiting for justice. We hope that the special courts see their way clear and reinstate this man and also give him back his whatever would have been his career growth and give some peace. And we have to really honor and respect people like him. I don't know if you can give a Padma Shri or one of those awards. At least some military awards should be given because he stood his ground. How much torture he went through. This is all captured, by the way, in various articles in PGurus. And the link for that one particular thing where he has named Abu Azmi as the mastermind, that link also is in the description section. You can see the letter where he is naming which places, which districts where this guy has put the money. I mean, it is as telling a story as something like, you just have to go to this address and this is where this guy lives. That is the amount of detail to which it was captured. Anyway, so let's move on to the next slide, please. Here it comes. A Pakistani diplomat was caught in Bangladesh, and as part of his confession, you want to call it disclosure, revelations, whatever you want to call it, he named 3 people. Okay, number 1, 𝗥𝙗𝘅𝗍𝗍 Singh. Number 2, Abu Azmi, and third is another MLA from Mumbai called Azam Khan. I couldn't get his picture, so I'm just going to put it here. Now, these are not the only players. We're going to have some Bollywood links also. In just a moment, I'll yield the floor to RVS Maniji. Sir, go ahead, sir.
This was there. It was there for even MHA. It was there in every place. But the actions were not coming forth because the conspirators behind that was known to the intelligence agency. So this fellow has also said it. And that gentleman, whichever High Commissioner, he was High Commissioner in Pakistan. Prior to that, he was Deputy High Commissioner in India, as the article which you had tagged as revealed.
Yes.
So it is that gentleman, if that is the case, he was handling all the ISA activities in basically every Deputy High Commissioner or Councillor posted in the Pakistani High Commission in India is an ISI plant. And Pakistan diplomacy or Pakistan Foreign Service doing this type of dirty activities is a part of their core curriculum and training. So whether he is a clean diplomat or a non-clean diplomat, everybody goes through this. Whether it's, you might have seen even Abdul Basit also doing all sorts of nonsense with these Hurriyat leaders, was the Abdul Basit, Shahid Malik had done it. So it is nothing surprise that if he has been indulging in it. That's number 1. Number 2 is, having come out with this type of names, Azam Khan is already behind the bars in some other case. Whether his bail comes out or not, there are several cases. And he had a stranglehold over the UP. And
that's a different Azam Khan. That is the Samajwadi Party Azam Khan, Rampur Honcho. This is another
right.
Mumbai MLA Azam Khan. But anyway, you are right.
I didn't know this.
That fellow also, he has he has named Jayaprada and all that stuff. Please continue, sir.
Right. So this is the way it is. It was all happening, and we had the inputs. But will the basically NIA came only on 2009, 1st January, effectively, and how the DG was appointed, everything is before you. And the NIA in the first 4 years or 5 years of their existence were doing only framing Hindu terror cases which were thrown out of the case, thrown out by the courts of the country. So on that there is no doubt about it. Even the NIA had been there. It is within the mandate of NIA. Still, I do not know how much of action they would have taken. But having said that, after having come down, 2016 was the watershed. Before that, even now I am told that again it is raising its heads back. I do not know what is the real-time situation. 2016 demonetization was a watershed. Pakistan had a lot of value chain inside that fake currency note, which collapsed. And besides that, huge investments had collapsed. And that is the reason that fellow 𝗥𝗲𝗬𝗀𝘃, I do not know, was bumped off by ISI or committed suicide or whatever it is. And thereafter the decline of their own economy began. It has taken another 7 years for the economy to completely crash out of the beyond repairs. So that one part of the story is that we cannot. Again, you said about the Crown Prince, Himalayan Bank of Nepal. Himalayan Bank of Nepal has very close nexus with many UP politicians. I have already said this in several other places. And we also knew that the High Commission of Nepalese Embassy of Pakistan in Nepal, High Commission of Pakistan in Sri Lanka, Bangkok, all these places, diplomatic bags, fake currencies would be flown in. And since it's a diplomatic bag, nobody would, it was exempt from any X-ray or any scrutiny. And from there, it will be pumped into India through the sea route, through the maximum was happening through the Nepalese. So if the Crown Prince has been involved in that, there is no surprise in that, because Nepal is one of the centers of it. And all 𝗤𝗄𝗃, it used to come like flow. In Bihar, it used to flow like anything. In UP, it was flowing like Maharajganj. In 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗃, we caught a State Bank of India ATM almost leaking fake currency. And incidentally, there are reports in the MHA that was one of the major source of funding of 2611 in Bombay. And you can see the timeline. September 2008, the money leaked, and it was caught also, but money had already gone out. By the time it was brought to notice, the State Bank, and we had gone and taken the preventive measures or whatever, or remedial measures, much money had already flown out, and there was no record of that. We cannot have a record of, there's no meaning of taking a record, and such a God's forsaken place that it takes so many 12 hours from Lucknow to go there, or 8 hours, 10 hours from Lucknow, wherever from you go over. It was like that. So this is all very important, and let's make most of it. Fake currency had a very direct nexus with terror funding. And finance is the lifeline of terrorism. If there is no money, nobody will fight for you. No, those 72 whores are all is an illusion. They want, and not only also on the logistics, on the arms, everything, IEDs, everything costs money. So all these on training of the terrorists themselves will cost money by the Pakistan. So that is how they were doing it. And that was an industry. And that industry collapsed, and it was a major industry collapsed, and their terrorist activities continued. Pulwama and Uri continued after Pulwama continued on several other issues. And that is how this has happened. And now see the situation now, that Azam Khan, again the Mumbai MLA also is a thing. And about 𝗥𝗲𝗬𝗃, I think I have read another report that there was another politician from Mumbai, a UP politician from Mumbai, who was also indulging in this. I do not know whether which party he is in. At that time, he was a Congress minister. I also, on the same report which you are relying upon, there was another gentleman. I do not know the name of the person, recollect the name of the person, but there was somebody else also. So it is all a huge, nexus. And many, see, these two people were Samajwadi, Congress party, all the secular groups. Incidentally, let me tell you one very interesting thing. Samajwadi Party and Congress, 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗍 Singh had lobbied together, colluded together, allied together to pump this fake currency, but they were under 2005, that case of that Amethi guest house, or what? No, Amethi guest house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, if Samajwadi Party filed a false case against Rahul Gandhi.
Yes.
It is Samajwadi Party who MLA who went to the High Court and Supreme Court, all sorts of places, and pursued it. It is not you or me or any BJP fellow. They were trying to bring a false case on Rahul Gandhi, a false rape case, and that is a fact. A matter of fact, I have gone through the papers of the case, and it was thrown out by High Court. The High Court had, in fact, imposed a penalty on that Samajwadi Party fellow, but it does not matter. It is a fact that on that the Congress will not say anything. Because they are colluding with these fellows. They are colluding in these fellows that they have no gall to say anything to that Samajwadi Party. And see, 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗍 Singh is colluding with them. 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗍 Singh, Azam Khan, he is colluding with Abu Azmi. Abu Azmi's daughter-in-law is a what is that? Some film star or film actress or whatever it is. So that it takes you to.
Yeah, this person's name also comes in that article. There is an article, viewers, that we are going to give the link to in the description section. It's not there today, but right now, but I'll put it right after this. We have all the data. And this is another person's name that has been mentioned in that article. Now, funny,
I think this is the person I was referring to.
Yeah. Funny you should mention this, sir. There is a Bollywood connection that we've been leading you up to it. The Bollywood connection is that all these people used to be using one particular actress. We will not tell her name, but she doesn't have Indian passport. In fact, she may have British passport. That's all we know. And we will leave it at that. You can find out who it is. This is the sleaze. This is the amount of connect that these people have. This Pakistani diplomat, he boasts that Indian politicians are greedy, corrupt, and they'll do whatever you want as long as you give them what they want. So just remember what he said. The article goes on to say a lot more things. I just gave you mota some of the things. Maniji, one of the other things, I'm going to ask you this question after framing the question. Now information is coming that ISI doesn't even get its budget and funding from the army. In other words, ISI has become an entity in itself, in that it has its own P&L, it has its own ways of creating revenues. We are also not touching upon the drug production that happens. Opium plants are grown in Afghanistan. Pakistan never allowed Afghanistan to process their opium. That comes to Pakistan. That is where it gets processed, enriched, purified. Then the mules start from there to all of the world. So ISI, it's got ISI footprint all over it. So this is the way the ISI has its footprint in almost every aspect of Pakistani economy. So one can easily make the argument that because demonetization stopped circulation of the two big prevailing currencies, 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, it could have impacted in a big way what was happening in Pakistan. I'll leave it to you, sir. You can add your stuff and then we can open it for questions.
I will tell you one thing. Earlier, the center of gravity of drug trade was in Latin America.
Yes, Colombia.
Benazir Bhutto came to Pakistan, returned back to Pakistan in 1887. From there, she started establishing it, and that is where we had somebody having close links with the devil. I do not want to take any names. It's a very powerful political person, had a close link with drug mafias of Latin America and Indian politics. And Benazir Bhutto comes here, And she changes the entire scenario in 5 years that the drug mafia, drug center of gravity has shifted to Pakistan. Jalalabad item. Jalalabad is in northwest, adjacent to Afghanistan, and that area becomes the largest producing opium producing harvesting country, harvesting place, and the entire center of even the enrichment, everything moves to Pakistan, and that money is used for now. Latin American drug cartel is nowhere to be seen vis-a-vis the ISI's activities. And that is able to fund the entire Pakistani's dirty work. It is able to fund the entire dirty work of the ISI. So that is the scale of course, opium, dealing in opium is not anybody's game. It is not small change or chicken feed. It contains of trillions of dollars, but it is happening. This is in spite of even ODS and all sorts of presence and all. So, and that was also one of the reasons. One very interesting thing, I have been saying this even earlier also, in many fora I have said, every delegation which used to come from Pakistan into India during 2004 to 2014, few of them would come and peddle drugs here. I will take you to few instances. 2006 January, a SAFMA delegation came. Something happened like this. Some people were bringing in drugs, trying to push it off, but it was hushed up. 2006 October, Champions Trophy, 19 members of the Pakistan team were peddling drugs. But Pakistan offered 2 olive branches and saved the other 17 members. Jaipur, they said Muhammad Asif or Muhammad, whatever, I don't know who that, and 𝗒𝙗𝗍𝙗𝗀, and they deported them immediately. Although Indian government should have put their foot down and said NDPS Act, we will apply on them. You can recollect
You're saying that those 2 players escaped.
They simply escaped those people and saved the rest of them. It is like 𝗥𝗲𝗬𝗏, the perpetrator escaped without even having a passport. It is something similar to that. Those 2 players, if you remember, Shoaib Akhtar was one, another Muhammad Sami or Muhammad Asif, whatever it is the name, I do not recollect that name. Those 2 players were taken by the High Commissioner, put on some road to Amritsar, and from there they crossed the border, and the Indian government was watching them. Although they had no diplomatic immunity, they had come as players, they should have been tried under the Indian laws, NDPS Act. What is your opinion on that? But that happened. So Pakistan. Besides that, Pakistan, SAFMA, by virtue of their drug peddling, had established also a center for conflict resolution under SAFMA. And that was also taking on board the United Nations Military Observer Board. I had flagged it. I had written to INB Minister and several other people in 2021 or 20 or 21. As a result of that, now recently I am told that the US emojis, visas have been cancelled. Rightly so by the government. So it takes quite a time for the government also to act. But I had written to the INB Minister that this is what SAFMA is doing. I'm not bragging, I simply wrote that this is what is happening. Why should they have a conflict resolution office in conflict resolution in Kashmir division, vertical in under SAFMA? What is the relevance? And number 2, how is it funded? It's already funded by all drug lobbies. So that is a very good action they have taken, notwithstanding that UN emoji, Military Observers Group, but in Kashmir. And that is how these are all been happening. We have discussed it many times, I do not have much faith in United Nations as an institution. They have always worked against the Indian interest. Whether people like it or not, no money for terror, NMFT or whatever you may conduct, whatever you may say. Now the British hand is being bitten by the same Islamic terrorism. Now they are going for a review. Otherwise, what they have said in the review, what 21 years back we had said. At least I have said it at least 2006, 7 and all. We have been shouting horses on it every way. But that's a different story now, that's all history. So now that is what I'm saying, that this is all a ploy. And the Congress was, I won't say ambivalent, they were not ambivalent about it. They were very clear about it, that we will not act against these people, against such nefarious acts of Pakistan. Whether the undersecretary or a director or a joint secretary may keep shouting or recording note after note, the decisions would not come. Or it will be diverted. They will say, please take the views of external affairs. And those days we used to ourselves used to joke that external affairs was the home ministry of all other countries. They used to play their line instead of putting our line together. Now, on that extent, the diplomacy front, lot of improvement as well. This is the muscular diplomacy I can see. Third was this visa scam. Medical visas also, they were pushing in drugs. The guardian of the children or sufferer, or the attendant to the sufferer would be an ISA chap. All the 60% of the medical visas issued during those times, including Narendra Modi ji came home, and Sushma Swaraj was trying to.
Yeah, she was called the Visa Mata.
Visa Mata. At that time also, you can check, go and verify. Around 40 to 50% of the medical visas were all bloody false papers created by Pakistani government agencies. See, if a private man is making a false medical paper, you can go and verify with the government. But here the government itself was making. Who will authenticate that? If the Central Board of Film Certificate itself issues a false certificate, or if the University of Manchester issues a false certificate, who will that counter that? It's something like that, and they would send the persons, ISI's person, and that fellow will admit the person, the patient in the hospital and go and put drugs or what to do, whatever it is. So there were so many ifs and buts. This at 2019 has been a lot of improvements have taken place. Not only that, Kashmir was also peddling it, Punjab they were peddling it. From Pathankot to, I'll tell you one thing, Pathankot to Jammu area, the Power Grid Corporation of India had constructed a lot of pillars, a towers type, for transmission. It was the central transmission utility of the power sector, northern zone. Some tower pillar type had been, and some they were occupied by the power grid and all that. Even now you can go and verify. In spite of all the Roshni Act, they have taken over a lot of things. Hurriyat had taken over, drug peddlers had taken over, terror funders were using that as a hideout. These are all facts. I am not saying. You can, I have got much more masala, I cannot put it in a book, it will run into tons and tons of pages. Terror, see, the power grid, they are, and the government till now has not been taken back from those fellows, in spite of our Roshni Act being abolished and all. Even the government of India, you know, it's a UT is finding it difficult because there is a deep state or a lobby which stands up. Now, if Jammu, some demolitions are happening, there are thousands and thousands of people standing that you should not demolish, and all those fellows are Rohias. It is something like that which is still happening in Kashmir. It is very difficult situation. Same way, these were all once upon a time trafficking drugs and fake currencies. And doing all sorts of nefarious activities, anti-India activities within India. I'm just giving you small examples. This is not only that, these fellows, petrol pump fellows. Jammu and Kashmir, you cannot change currency in a petrol pump.
Why is that?
Many of the PDP leaders own the petrol pump. The Hurriyat leaders were owning petrol pump, and they were dealing with currencies, fake currency.
Oh, so they would give you fake currency back. So you give real currency, they'll give you fake currency as change.
Change. In exchange. Whatever the residuary change, they will give you fake currency and you are gone.
And if you start looking at these people and start naming them, Islam khatre mein hai. Always Islam standard khatre. Answer. Always standard Islam. Answer. I mean,
persecution, Islam khatre mein, even today somebody has raised the issue of, what is that, under Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan Foreign Office has called out all the embassies in Islamabad, and I have been briefing them on the human rights violation in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Today, when they are coming out with all over the world with the begging bowl, today's news is that Pakistan Foreign Office has briefed all the envoys in the Islamabad about certain human rights issues in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Today it's a news. You can verify that. And if you do anything of that sort now, since this has come up, Islam khatre mein hai, so they are doing it. Jammu and Kashmir, we are doing like this. Lot of issues.
The important takeaway is that looks like IMF is not going to budge. So it is up to them what they want to do. This country is going down fast. But now we have given you some angles and dimensions as to how they were essentially trying to inflict thousand cuts on India and try and see if, whatever the 𝗥𝗲𝙬𝗧𝗍𝗍 nonsense that they peddle. And 70% of the population is not even fifth class pass. What do you expect? They're all completely drugged on this stuff, hate of India. Hopefully that will stop them from scaling the fence and coming in when there is nothing to eat. There's a water problem, electricity problem, food problem, petrol problem. I don't know what else. There is no problem. Everything is a problem in Pakistan. Pakistan has become synonymous with problem. Anyway, so we'll wait at this point.
We have to be alarmed.
One minute, finish it, sir, and we'll take to questions, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
We have to be alarmed. Because Pakistan, actually the Egypt Azhar University, which is Islamic University, which is also one of the breeding grounds for all this 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗪𝗀𝘀𝗻, means if you don't have no other thing, you do 𝗥𝗲𝗍𝗪 by encroachment and then empowerment, like that. You emigrate and encroach. What is happening in Belgium, what has happened in other parts of Europe, even in London or UK, they may come and do the same thing in India, because from the Rohingyas in Bangladesh, it has already been coming. Now, if that comes out on the western border also, you are doomed. They have got nothing to use, but you have adequate material, and with the recent findings of 𝗼𝗂𝐼𝐴𝐶, your dependence on Islamic states, OIC, and also will also come down. The lithium findings in 𝗼𝗂𝐼𝐴𝐶 in Jammu district, which has been reported, there will be a huge reduction in dependence on oil. But transportation takes away the maximum of the oil imports. As things having, although it may take 3 years or a 5 years time period, but it is going to have, it may happen. And that is where you are going to be hit.
Sir,
Because these fellows will start...
some of these states, there is no point in holding elections. In my opinion, India should keep J&K as a union territory for some more time. They need to really completely root out any thought that Kashmir is special, Kashmiris are special. You guys have been getting a lot of freebies from motherland India, which doesn't get that money. The per capita expense on a Kashmir resident of J&K was 70,000 rupees. A UP Bhaiya gets only 4,000 rupees. What did he do wrong? Why do you give only 4,000 to him and 70,000 to the other people? That is the kind of expense. Yeah.
No, that is one part of the story. And there have been many other political parties which should be banned. I have been saying like this, that make anti-India this type of thing. Not in this case, even in BBC case also I have been saying that it should be made offense, and politically it should be debarred. Recently there is a lot of talk on constitutional rewriting the constitution with M.R. Venkatesh and all. Bharat Gopu, M.R. Venkatesh. I had said that, look, not only the judicial accountability also, the constitution or the parliament should fix time frame for each court. That in Singapore, there is a time frame that ultimately a criminal case has to be completed in 24 months. Concluded, whether conviction or not conviction. Here also, that type of a time frame. See, a person stealing taking a bribe of 300 rupees was convicted after 32 years, whereas a person having a 8 crore drug peddling charge is let out by the Chief Justice of India saying that it is a small quantity drug peddling. This is the way our judiciary. So, judiciary accountability can only come through fixing, constitutionally fixing time frame for each of them. If they don't do it, they lose the right to adjudicate the matter and it will be immediately escalated. And if the Supreme Court doesn't do it, then he will be the person, the convicted, the accused person shall not get. Let us be very. You make a classification of offences. In terms of grievous offences, he shall not get any further access to justice if the Supreme Court cannot do it within the time frame. It is something very harsh things we have to do if we have to survive as India as a country. Bharata. Bharata means light, illumination. Ratha means chariot. We are supposed to be the chariot of investigation. From there, our Prime Minister is calling ourselves Vishwaguru. That is, we are going to illuminate the world about knowledge and other things. But this is the way our institutions are struggling, judiciary for this matter, even the bureaucracy for that matter. They keep on, as we have discussed, even a very important paper was lying for 14 days. Most important challenge is the security of the country was left lying in a particular officer's table for 12 days or 14 days. These are type of very disturbing things. Everybody, not just that, people in the government should also realize their responsibility. Citizens should also realize their responsibility. Their national love for the nation. Questions, please.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. One small clarification. Javed Khanani died on the 4th of December, according to a Dawn newspaper. So 8th of November 2016 is when the demonetization happened. 3 weeks later, the guy died. The story goes like this. He had put every cent of his personal worth into printing counterfeit notes. And ISI just said, we can't pay you for this anymore. The guy was stuck with fake currency that he couldn't do anything. And I think he was threatening to divulge some names in ISI, and that's why he got thrown off of a building that he was trying to build himself. All these are stories. I've collected it from various articles in Pakistan. Today, if you go, they may have even sanitized some of these things. This is just connecting the dots here.
My information is one followed by some 23 zeros or something like that. Was the face value of the amount. Face value amount. So yes,
now let's go to questions now.
Also. Please.
Yeah. Yes. Ruben Loganathan wants to know why Chidambaram is not in jail if he was involved in the scandal of Pak printing Indian money. Why are Modi and Shah not doing anything? Are they too busy campaigning to win elections?
Chidambaram matter is already in the court. So it is for the judiciary. I said judiciary has to be given a time frame. Somebody has to do it. As long as they take such long time for each of the cases, the Col Purohit is also suffering, although there is very little against him. Chidambaram is enjoying himself. There is so much against him, and there are so many cases pending against him. ED investigations and all these things. So the judiciary has to take a place. What the Prime Minister or Shah can do anything about it. The judicial process will take time. So we need, they can do one thing at least at this stage. It will not apply retrospectively. From now onwards, they can suggest we can put in a constitutional amendment, a government bill amending the constitution or amending the CRPC that each court shall have this much time only to try and control the conversation. Otherwise, it will go to the next higher superior court. One level is gone. Like that, some sort of things, modified application of trial proceedings have to be brought out. Otherwise, we will, after Chidambaram is dead, the course will become unfructuous, and that is how it is going to happen. So that is very unfortunate. Next question.
Next question, please. Srishti Suyash wants to know, Sri IRG, Farzi Web Series starring Shahid Kapoor is stolen from your book. Why are you not doing anything or suing them in US? How can we help? Srishti, thanks for asking this question. At this point of time, all options are on the table. Something that I have been trying to get my head wrapped around. See, this series was released by Amazon Prime, a group, a division of Amazon. My book became #1 bestseller in Amazon Books, another group company of Amazon. And don't you think that by promoting the fact that this series is based on a bestseller in Amazon Books, they would be doing both sides a big favor? So I am trying to understand what is Amazon's business angle and all these things. why are they leaving money on the table? That is a US expression for when you can make use of, when you can leverage one against the other for the success. Why would you not do that? I don't know the answer to this. So thanks for asking. So we will get some more clarity in the days and weeks to come. Next question, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know how much of money actually came back to banks post demonetization. How much of that was in fake currency?
It's a dollar question. There are no answers to that. I have no idea. Where I had moved out, I had at that time I was in the textile ministry. I had very little answers to that.
Magnet Ranga, the hint is in what RVS said as part of the disclosure, that the amount of paper that Pakistan was sourcing to print notes was more than that of India. India's economy is what, 10 times bigger than Pakistan's economy? So he can give you a hint on how much money was there.
Right.
Next question, please. Sundar Ram wants to know, sir, when will 2000 rupee ban come? It must come fast, else they will convert it to 500 and 2000 will come back into circulation via banks.
It is basically it's a speculation, but now after that the present government there's a lot of diligence, that's more vigilance, because last time also we had the intelligence agencies and other agencies giving us reports. There was no will to act, but now there are several. The FIU IND and DGRI are working very stringently on that. They are monitoring with the state agencies also, state special task forces and all. So now the institutional mechanism put up in the first tenure of NDA has been robust. Still, see, the criminals are always few steps ahead of the state which is countering them, but I do not know whether it has come to such a pass that they are able to overrun the government mechanisms.
I'll give you my personal experiences. Today, if you go to an ATM and withdraw any amount of currency, the maximum, let's say 20,000 rupee currencies, right? 20,000 rupees if you withdraw, you'll only get them in 200s and 500s. The 2,000 rupee in circulation has become quite low. So it could be like a silent thing where they're just slowly ramping down the 2000 printing, and at some point of time, there will be no 2000s left. It might be happening. I'm not speculating this, but I'm seeing from, even when I went to bank to withdraw a big amount, like a 1 lakh, I didn't get any 2000s. So I'm just telling you, this has been my experience. If some of you are getting 2000s, let us know, but this is the general trend that I'm hearing. Next question, please. CS Reddy wants to know, is Ruben very happy with circulation of fake currency even today? He has some information. It should help GOI to cripple it. I don't know. The question is not for us. Next question, please. Magnet Ranga again. Was there a Pak hand in the fake stamp paper Telgi scam too?
See, basically, I'll tell you, Magnet, they are not printed the printing presses of Indian printing presses are not too far away. And Abdul Rahman Telgi had also had several other interests, including several interests in Pakistan. So, whether, because it is too old a case, Telgi's case is quite old, but if you really look into it, I think there may be threads where we may be connecting it. We cannot be very sure about it. Because the CBI director who did it also, who investigated it, also died.
Somebody called NO. I am from Manipur. Before 2014, a lot of fake currency used to be seized here. Now it's only drugs and gold. Could you shed some light on why?
That's what Javed, the demonetization has addressed the issue. If you are saying that, you answered the question yourself that the demonetization has done what it was intended to do. Thank you. And drugs is something which is happening very openly because it is coming through the Alipurdwar. You know that in Manipur, where the drug comes from Alipurdwar as well as the Burmese border, Myanmar border. But that's the way it is.
It's unrealistic for us to expect the government to do everything. We as people also should do what it takes. I mean, there's nothing wrong in being vigilant and pointing something that doesn't make sense. Send an email to the local police or law and order saying that this I saw it with the video clip. See if they act or not. people will act.
Or you
I think
write to NCB, National Narcotics Control Bureau online website is there. You take the email and send it to them.
Bharani Chandar wants to know, why is this not catching mainstream attention and instead there's some ridiculous reason to divert attention? What are they afraid of? Or are they simply want to hate BJP, or they just dumb? This is the opposition parties.
Opposition parties is playing, see, basically you can classify the opposition in the major part of opposition is simply jealous of Modi. They are Modi haters. And they have their own favorite media channels like the Article 14 or Wire or whatever it is, this George Soros, IPSMST and all these things supported. There are many media groups. And they have I do not know what is their problem. See, I am a critic of Modi. Wherever he doesn't do to my expectation. But that doesn't mean that you hate a person who is delivering. He is delivering on quite a few fronts, and that is what the opposition is not able to digest. Also, by virtue of, for example, if you remember our friend A.K. Antony is saying that we did not want to build infrastructure in Indo-Chinese border. Because there was, indirectly he said that we had an MOU with China ILD, CCP ILD. International Liaison Department of CCP is the intelligence arm of the Chinese government. The ILD details are also on the anvil to come out. I do not know what is there in that. But let me assure you that ILD is the intelligence arm of the Chinese government. So without saying that, A.K. Antony, the then defense minister, has said so. So they have many vested interests. They have many international commitments when they had entered into during that. Nitish Kumar had traveled to, we had done a story on that, he had traveled to Pakistan. In 2012, he traveled to Pakistan with a group of officers to study their development model. I do not know, had the Bihar, if that is the development model implemented there, Bihar is not far away from what Pakistan's status is today. It's a fact of that. These are all very clear, open source information.
We must also let our viewers know that the Honorable Defense Minister of that day, A.K. Antony, when some Pakistani army people were shot dead inside India, he reads the statement in the parliament. Some people wearing the uniforms of Pakistan have been shot dead. So I leave it to you. This guy didn't even want to admit that these were Pakistani military people. It is just nonsense. That UPA government, also guys, if by any chance in 2024, if the opposition comes to power, the first thing they'll try to do is to resuscitate the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, because they have built bungalows with that and still hoping that somehow they can use it somewhere. Anyway, this is just my observation. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. Next question, please.
If they come back, my head will, let me be very clear. If they come back, my head will be on the block first. So let's make no mistake. I hope the people of India do vote sensibly to bring, at least maintain status quo.
Yes.
At present, you have very little options. I do not stand
there is really no option. There is really no option for the Indian voter. Of course, this is all being done in in English, but this will reach in Hindi also. Trust me. These days, people are quick on picking up nuggets and then translating it into vernacular languages. Sharkfish wants to know, is this why M.K. Stalin went with his family to Dubai to facilitate fake currency? Is T.R. Balu's boats being used to bring fake currencies from Sri Lanka?
These are all speculations. I do not want to correct. I have no idea about whether M.K. Stalin went to Dubai or family went to Dubai or T.R. Balu has boats. I have absolutely no idea about it. I don't want to comment on this.
You know, it's a nice ending when we answer all the questions and we are still within our mark of 1 hour. Thank you very much, Mani Saab. And this is just the beginning of a lot more revelations to come. Stay tuned. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. If you have not read my book, Who Painted My Money White, it is available in Amazon India. You can search for it and you will be able to buy it and read all about it. Namaskar.
Namaskar.